Everybody, welcome to today's Team Kentucky update. Got a short but an important agenda today. First, I want to highlight yet another company that is building a significant presence in the Commonwealth. Last week, I had the opportunity to join the leadership of Consumer Cellular Incorporated for the grand opening of their Louisville office. Consumer Cellular is a provider of cell phones and no-contract mobile phone plans for customers throughout the United States. Consumer Cellular operates exclusively in the U.S. and employs over 2,400 people nationwide. I'm proud to say Kentucky is adding to that number as the company is creating 486 new full-time jobs for Kentuckians in Jefferson County. The new customer support center includes a $15.5 million investment, and it positions the company for future growth in our state. We were proud to have the CEO, Ed Evans, in along with others from the company. One of the neatest things to come out of that is Ed was in Kentucky a couple decades ago working for another company at that time and loved our state and his experience so much. It was one of the driving reasons to bring nearly 500 jobs to the Commonwealth when he had the opportunity. Our low cost of living and our high quality of life are central to Consumer Cellular's decision to locate here, and I hope to see them grow well into the future. I got to meet their first trainee class as well. Really exciting to see that group bought into the company. They're the folks who will eventually become the trainers, as well as the original trainers they brought in who have moved full-time to Kentucky. These are the type of new businesses we like to see that attract talent from all across the United States. So thank you to Consumer Cellular for creating hundreds of quality jobs for our people. This is a company poised for a bright future, and we're going to grow together. Next, we've got some more good pieces of legislation that I'm pleased to sign and will benefit the people from our great state. First is Senate Bill 64. I'd like to invite Senator Mike Wilson from Bowling Green as we're going to sign Senate Bill 64. So we all know essential frontline employees like our law enforcement officers, telecommunicators, firefighters, and paramedics face challenge after challenge. These are tough jobs, but they continue to show up every day to keep us safe and to make our state better. I'm signing this legislation because it's past time for us to make sure our public safety employees are taken care of and have mental health services that are available because they're needed with the trauma that these individuals face. This bill allows any public agency to establish a peer support counseling program for Kentucky's public safety officers who have faced a traumatic, emotional, difficult incident while on the line of duty. And I can personally attest that in these last 2 years, our workforce has faced a lot. We all have scars internally and externally, and this is a wonderful statement and action plan about getting people help they need, about reducing any stigma about saying I could use a little extra help. And especially after what we have seen with the storms in Western Kentucky and the heroism of so many, including in Bowling Green, that responded, these services are very needed. I know the senator agrees, but certainly as governor, I want all our law enforcement, telecommunicators, firefighters, paramedics, and others to know that we see them out on the roads, in our hospitals, at our schools, in our neighborhoods, in our most difficult moments, and we are grateful. We want to be there for you like you are always there for us. This is a great bill. I'm proud to sign it. Senator?
Thank you, Governor, and I certainly appreciate being able to sit with you while you sign the bill today. For our first responders, my experience comes from having been a police chaplain, seeing the things that our policemen go through every single day, deputies, and they're exposed to some of the most traumatic events that happen in people's lives, and yet then they still have to go home to be a husband, a father, and do it without having that interfere with their everyday lives. Nobody quite understands the things that they go through unless it's another police officer, someone that's had those same experiences, that's been trained in peer counseling. So I'm excited to be able to have this bill that will provide those services for our emergency responders. Thank you.
All right. All right. This is the real bill, right? This one's yours.
Yes, sir.
All right. We are March the 17th. All right. Congratulations. I appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
for a great piece of legislation.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you to Senator Wilson. I think that's the second bill that I've signed during one of these press conferences. The last time was at short notice. We weren't able to have him here. Greatly appreciate it. Next, we have Senate Bill 140, which is sponsored by Senator Max Wise of Campbellsville. Senator Wise is currently in a committee meeting and advised that he would not be able to attend. Under the provisions of this new law, patients can take medication that their doctor believes is best for their treatment rather than the medicine the insurance company or those who set drug prices think is best. Senate Bill 140 puts doctors and patients in charge of their health care instead of insurance providers or companies that set drug prices. I believe health care is a basic human right. This bill is another step in making sure more Kentuckians can enjoy the full benefits of that right. So now I'll sign Senate Bill 140. All right, last but not least is House Bill 284. I'd invite Representative Michael Meredith from Oakland, who's here with us today and who sponsored this bill, to be up here with us. This bill will significantly improve the efficiency of the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet's vehicle title and registration process by allowing for electronic filings of applications, come on up, for titles and liens. Kentuckians will still visit a county clerk office for vehicle registration and titling services, but it'll allow dealers and other partners to do so remotely. Listen, if we've learned a lesson during COVID, and I hope we've learned a number, that is more and more of these types of services need to be provided remotely, and we look forward to working to modernize each day. This bill means less paper to deal with and better data entry. Now, it will require some upgrades and some changes to regulations. So the effective date, I think, is January of 2024, which we appreciate so that we can get it right. I want to thank those on the Legislative Research Commission Task Force that spent a year of study on these issues and whose work resulted in this legislation. Representative Meredith, you want to say a few words?
Governor, thank you for signing House Bill 284 today. The legislation is important and will bring our titling and lien system for automobiles into the 21st century. I'm proud to have worked with my colleague, Senator Jason Howell of Murray, on this task force over the interim, and all the other colleagues who worked on that. And this is truly consensus legislation that makes sure that our county clerks still play a major role in the decision-making process and the titling and lien process, while also providing those modern processes for filing these liens and titles. And we had so many people who worked on this bill, from the Kentucky Auto Dealers Association to the County Clerks Association, the Bankers Association, the Credit Unions Association, and others, to make sure that we have a good bill to put before you. And we appreciate your signature today, Governor.
Great. Senator, any comments?
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
I just want to join Representative Meredith in thanking you for signing this, and thanking everyone that had all the input into this for the collaboration. It was quite a long list of people that were involved in this, and it's nice to be able to take our clerks into the modern era and be able to do all of this online. This will be a great benefit, not just to our clerks, but for all of our car dealers and all of our individuals that are trying to do this online. Thank you.
Great. Let's sign it. That looks like yours.
That looks right.
All right.
You didn't read what was inside. A good attorney would have told you not. That's right.
I froze my license a while ago. Let's see, and then we'll date it with this one. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
appreciate y'all. So I was just thinking back, one of the first pieces of legislation I think I signed as governor was on the Bowling Green Veterans Center, and excited about how much progress we have made towards protecting those that have protected us. Looking forward to full operations and continuing to, break ground and move ahead. All right, this week I also traveled across Kentucky to present more than $5 million in funding to Crittenden, Graves, Livingston, McQuarrie, and Pulaski counties. Lieutenant Governor Coleman also presented $2.7 million in funding for Breckinridge, Grayson, and Meade counties. These dollars came from the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, the Department for Local Government, and our Cleaner Water program. Every Kentucky family deserves to drive on safe roads. Now, we're known for logistics, but our most precious cargo are our children, and getting them to school or getting them to church safely are the most important tasks we have as parents, and it ought to be one of our utmost duties as state government. For instance, one $84,000 500 award I announced in Somerset is going to help expand and improve Pulaski County Park. The Cleaner Water projects will give more families access to clean drinking water, a basic human right. And some of these we just announced yesterday will hook homes up for the very first time that were otherwise operating on septic systems. In the year 2022, most people would be surprised, even shocked, by the number of homes that don't have regular clean drinking water. One of our projects in Boone County is hooking up a school for the first time to a reliable source of drinking water, meaning they'll never have to shut down because they can't open their cafeteria. Not having the right pressure in these systems can make fighting fires, thus public safety, more difficult in different neighborhoods. And it's critically important for economic development, as you have to have the capacity for the project you're trying to attract. One Cleaner Water award was for the city of Burnside, and that's going to upgrade their water tanks, which will improve service for 750 families. They aren't the only people impacted by the program. We've already announced more than $150 million in cleaner water grants, and we're just getting started with about $100 million more to award. I appreciate the General Assembly. This was a bipartisan agreement on a great program, the continuation of which appears in all three budget versions that have been filed. Even better, it's expected to create 3,800 full-time jobs all on its own across the Commonwealth. I want to thank state legislators, county judges, and mayors, because dollars were set aside for each county, and we asked judges and mayors to come together. Some thought that might not be possible. All 120 counties and all their mayors have come to agreement on how to use these funds. That is a great example that we need to look at in Frankfort. That's a great example for Washington, D.C. Our local leadership and regional leadership is showing us how it's done. Appreciate our area development districts for everything they've done in this too. Okay, today I also wanted to update Kentuckians about some upcoming repair work that our state capitol dome will be experiencing here soon. Work to replace 80-year-old terracotta tiles, to install waterproofing, to make structural repairs and remove algae and other organic material from the dome will begin this spring. This project is long overdue, and the structural integrity itself has come into question, meaning we can no longer wait to do it. So it is going to require the construction of extensive scaffolding that are going to encircle the dome, providing access for historic preservation experts and specialty contractors as they assess damages and prepare construction plans. The materials needed to assemble the scaffolding will be delivered to the Capitol in early April. So it's estimated that it may take 2 months to construct the scaffolding, which will remain in place for approximately 2 years. Listen, none of us want our Capitol dome to have scaffolding around it for 2 years. And I don't want to be the governor that has the dome with scaffolding on it for the next 2 years, but it is the responsible thing to do. It's necessary for the safety of the people in this building that I am fully committed to, and it is my responsibility. And it's critical to this building itself, which is of such historic significance. we're just being asked to sacrifice a little bit in how our view will look for the next couple years to make sure that this dome and Capitol stands for the decades to come for the Kentuckians who come to visit or come here to work. The dome restoration work will be performed by a team of nationally recognized professionals who have successfully completed similar work on historic domes in Capitol buildings in Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia, as well as the United States Supreme Court building. This project is part of a multi-year renovation and restoration project that got underway in 2020. You've seen a whole lot of construction around these grounds the last couple years. Again, these were things that were put off for a long time. We are going to do the necessary work so that our kids and our kids' kids can enjoy this historic campus. The Kentucky General Assembly has been a great partner in this. They have stepped up in the 2018-2020 and the 2022 budgets and appropriated significant dollars that went to electrical, mechanical, and plumbing system repairs and upgrades. And I know in this budget that all versions contain significant additional dollars. With periodic maintenance, the refurbishment of this dome will provide us at least another 50 years once it's completed of being able to see that incredible site without scaffolding, having it be safe for our people here in the building. So this is a responsibility we are taking on, and you'll see the construction of that scaffolding starting really soon. So Thursday today is the first regular March Madness game since 2019. The games on the men's tournament and the women's the men's tournaments start today. A bunch of our women's teams will play tomorrow. We have 4 teams from the Commonwealth competing in their respective NCAA tournaments. On the men's side, both Kentucky teams play tonight and might, in fact, play each other in the second round. Kentucky will tip off tonight just after 7, and Murray State plays right after. Should both teams win, they'll face each other on Saturday in the second round. So there might be some divided households here across the Commonwealth. On the women's side, number 1 seed Louisville will host Albany on Friday night. I believe I'm going to be able to make it to that game. And Kentucky will take on Princeton on Saturday. Best of luck to all of our Kentucky teams playing in the NCAA tournament. We wish all of you the best. And remember, let's try to root for all of our Kentucky teams and be supportive. They bring honor to the Commonwealth, and we appreciate their hard work. Now, it wouldn't be a Team Kentucky update if I didn't have to give a warning on severe weather. Well, this week is no exception. Several lines of showers and thunderstorms will move through western Kentucky on Friday afternoon and evening. Damaging straight-line winds are the main threat, though an isolated tornado or two will be possible across western Kentucky. The highest risk of severe weather is generally areas west of I-65. We will continue to monitor and continue to update that information. All right, and finally, our Team Kentucky All-Star. I'm proud to announce Shannon Bales as today's Team Kentucky All-Star. Shannon is an A-Team AmeriCorps program director who is retiring this year after spending 25 years serving communities in western Kentucky. In her career, Shannon has led over 1,000 AmeriCorps members in service to Kentuckians. Yesterday, I had the honor of talking to Shannon herself while we were signing a proclamation recognizing this as AmeriCorps Week in Kentucky. Shannon says she's proud of all the AmeriCorps members who have come through the program and become leaders in their respective communities. She noted some are now teachers, college professors, dentists, accountants, and the list goes on. Over the years, Shannon's AmeriCorps program team has served during 2 tornado disasters. First response took place 10 years ago at East Bernstadt, and the second response is the tornadoes that hit western Kentucky in December, in which AmeriCorps members were on site providing help within hours, and they are still there, still making a difference, and deeply appreciated by everyone in the region and across Kentucky. Shannon's team is also known for their annual Hearts from Home service project, where they partner with local schools and organizations in making homemade Valentine's cards for veterans and active duty military. Over the course of 10 years, more than 10,000 Valentine cards have been sent across the world. Another annual service project that Shannon's team is involved in is the Build a Bed program. Started 13 years ago, and it involves building beds for students that don't have their own place to sleep. And they include items such as sheets, blankets, and pillows and books. To date, the A-Team AmeriCorps program has made over 1,500 beds for children in need. Shannon says her heart will always be in service, and she hopes to serve in AmeriCorps, Kentucky in some other way after retirement. That is outstanding, Shannon. Thank you. And thank you to all the volunteers and AmeriCorps members. All right. With that, happy St. Patrick's Day, and we'll open it up to questions. Bodie?
All right, Governor, I got two questions for you. One, can you comment on Senate Bill 195? Senator Chris McDaniel had a committee yesterday to get $50 million for refilling Ukraine refugees. And also, can you speak more on the dome repair project? Go back over how much that's going to cost and how is that being funded?
So let me start with the dome repair project as part of a much bigger overall maintenance and work on the Capitol. We'll get you the breakdown of just the dome itself. It's going to take about 2 years, but is absolutely necessary. We are really at the tipping point when it would start getting dangerous. I don't believe I have the estimate directly on that piece, but let me look through it very quickly. Well, thus far, I've got the amounts appropriated before this budget, but we'll get that breakdown for you. I read about, but haven't had a chance to talk to Senator McDaniel about, I guess it's Senate Bill 195, which is about Ukrainian refugees. Certainly, I stand with Ukraine. We are in awe of the heroism and courage of their soldiers, though their soldiers are their everyday men and women standing up for their freedoms. We want to do everything we can, both to help support them, to make the sacrifices that we are being asked to make right now to cripple the Russian economy and stop the dictator known as Vladimir Putin. And then we've got to think about the humanitarian side too, and how we can help in other ways. So I look forward in talking to Senator McDaniel, and I know that he's got the very best of intentions in filing it. I look forward to learning more details. All right, Tom Latek, Kentucky Today.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon. I like the green tie.
Thank you.
I too am interested. Yes, sir. I too am interested in getting the cost figured on the dome work. So if you could have them send that to me as well, I would appreciate that. There are a couple of bills dealing with Kentucky State University that are kind of languishing in the General Assembly now. As you know, the House passed the one to allocate $23 million to get them through the end of this fiscal year. And then there's also the one that would give you the power to change the board makeup. Hadn't been any movement on those for the last several days after they were being rushed through earlier. Do you know the status of it and where it stands right now?
My expectation is that the board bill for Kentucky State University will pass. We are already undertaking the efforts to make sure that we can meet the schedule, which is very aggressive under that bill. But the sponsor did work with us ahead of time on some different assistance that we would need or some changes we would need to do our best to meet that schedule. Certainly my expectation would be, should that bill go through, the funding should go through too. Now, making governance changes for the future of the university ought to come with providing the funding to help it survive, because doing one without the other wouldn't accomplish any goal, because the university cannot survive without that $23 million loan. Certainly, we had suggested in our budget that those dollars have to be approved, the expenditures from them, by the Council for Post-Secondary Education. I want to be clear. I support KSU. We need to do what it takes to continue KSU and its mission. As one of only two historically Black colleges and universities, it serves a critical role in this Commonwealth, and I am 100% supportive of the institution, but agree, we have to get it on the right track. We've got to make certain changes, and we've got to make sure things that happened in the past that don't happen again. Sarah Ladd, Courier Journal.
Yes, thank you. Hoping to get your thoughts on House Bill 9 regarding charter schools, particularly the provision that would expand education opportunity accounts to cover private school tuitions in all counties. Thanks.
I oppose charter schools. I'll veto any charter school bill, and I believe that the bill is unconstitutional in its current form. Karen Czar.
Good afternoon, Governor. Thank you. And hello, Rachel. As usual, I have two. One is, could I get an update on as the deadline passed for FEMA, what is the update as far as how many people we've been able to assist and the amount of money that went out? And since you were asked this last week, I know lawmakers, several sat down last night and did a compare and contrast of the budget bills. Have you had a chance to get more insight on the different bills? And what do you believe at this point are the hits and misses? Thank you.
First, the FEMA deadline has now passed. We will get an update on what FEMA has paid out right now. There's also, SBA services, what the Red Cross put out. The Team Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund has put out about $10 million already, but significant funds between all those groups. We'll try to get our best accounting. Last night in conference committee, the House and Senate did a comparison, but they didn't do a comparison of all the budgets that have been submitted. They talked about a House budget for the executive branch, which was submitted without talking to the executive branch or seeking input from the executive branch. Hard to make a good budget for a group that you either don't ask for or ignore their input. So they compared that with the Senate version. Now, the Senate did sit down with us and talk about our budget, and we greatly appreciate that. That was a much more collaborative process. As you look through the budgets and compare them, the biggest area is public education. First, they all increased the SEEK formula, but I don't believe that either the House or the Senate budget meet the moment. Our budget added almost $2 billion to public education, 16.9% SEEK increase. Much smaller SEEK increase in both the House and the Senate version, so there is an increase. We fully funded student transportation, something that the state, I believe, should be doing and should have been doing over the past number of budgets. The House and the Senate only fund part of that and only in the second year. We have universal pre-K. I hear all these bills about childcare and others, and I support childcare, but it's an incredibly difficult area where we're going to have to almost double the salaries of childcare workers to make it competitive and to make it work. And that is a huge challenge. The number one thing we can do to get people back in the workforce is universal pre-K at a fraction of the cost of looking at other programs. We include universal pre-K, which we can afford. It is not in the House or the Senate's budget, and the Senate didn't even fund full-day kindergarten. That's something that we funded in the last budget, and there ought to be a commitment there without using it as a bargaining chip for anything else. All three budgets have raises for our state workers, and they are all, I think, intended to do significant raises, and that's a real bright spot. I know they have to work through it exactly how and which approach they're going to take, but I think all of which are going to be very positive for our state workers. All of them have raises for the Kentucky State Police, needed all the same amounts to make it competitive. The Senate budget does not include the telecommunicators, those 911 folks that answer the phone, work a tough job, and try to walk everybody through difficult times. I think that needs to be addressed, but I know they're talking about it. All of them have dollars for new social workers, along with making our social work raise, I believe, permanent, and even providing some retention, I believe, for some of them. They don't have as many new social workers as our budget does, but they're all pretty significant. The House and Senate budget do not have the site development program that we have. $250 million. The goal there is to create the next Glendale to attract the next Ford. It was decades of investment in Glendale from the state that made that possible, along with tons of investments from the locals. We ought to be paying that forward, and we have enough money to do that right now. It's something that's wanted by every county judge, every ad district, every local economic development group. They deserve our help and we can get it to them. All the budgets include another round of the Cleaner Water Program. That will help a lot of people that are out there. Only our budget has a line item for an agritech R&D facility. That's one that could keep us on the cutting edge and not just be the workers, but to be the thinkers in that field. Two of the budgets do have a pharmaceutical R&D facility in Northern Kentucky. Only our budget makes the investment in the Paducah Airport Terminal to make sure that's a reality and give Western Kentucky all the tools that they need. Karen, there's a lot of other comparisons. We could do an entire press conference on that, but those are just some of the highlights. Last one, at least I'd mention, is we have more money for regional airports, which is critically important. And the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act is putting a ton of money into the big airports. Everybody else deserves their piece too. And our budget and the House budget have a significant, even generational investment in our career and vocational portions of our high schools. These are so needed. They tie us to the jobs of the future that we're bringing in. I do not believe that the Senate version has that part. So there's some good pieces in all of them. The biggest miss, though, here is education. I mean, for 9% of the extra recurring dollars we have, we can do universal pre-K and have every child kindergarten ready. I mean, that's the right thing to do. It saves families about $12,500 a year, and it increased DC's labor force by 10% in a year. I mean, that is a no-brainer when we're looking at getting more people to work and ultimately improving the educational attainment of our kids. All right, that was my shortest answer yet. Bria Jones.
Hi, Governor. Can you expand on sorry if you hear my dog barking. Can you expand on what parts of HB 9 that you consider unconstitutional and what changes could be made for you to not veto it if it comes across your desk?
Well, I believe charter schools are overall unconstitutional under the way our Constitution writes about a system of public schools and what's required. I think when you look at the language of the Rose decision, which brought about CARA, it talks about how public dollars have to be going into public schools. And there's lots of different ways they try to change the words, right, and change the definitions. But schools run by corporations are not public schools. Now, listen, charter schools in different places have had certain innovations. We can do those inside our public schools. You look at some programs both in Louisville and in Lexington. You look at the different academies that have been created. We can innovate with the right model and the right program in any and all of our public schools, and we've got to do better for each and every one of our kids. But we haven't been funding our public schools in ways to be able to innovate, to provide that extra help. Think about what we could do with that additional $2 billion going pre-K through 12. Think about everybody showing up kindergarten ready. Now, you can't starve public schools of the dollars that they need and then tell them they're not doing a good enough job and then give their dollars to corporations. So charter schools are not the right path. Ones that some are successful, some are not. And they leave everybody else behind in terms of taking money out of public schools that aren't selected for or going to them. Chandler Wilcox, UK Student News Network.
Hi, Governor. I'm actually in one of the NCAA tournament arenas, so I apologize in advance if you can't hear me. But I was wondering about House Bill 606. I know you have supported sports betting before legalizing it, and that bill would obviously legalize that. What are your thoughts on that? What would that do for the state in terms of money and just different things like that?
Well, it'd bring us into modern reality. Virtually every state around us allows sports betting. You can drive right across the border, just about any border, do it on your phone, turn around and come back. So they are dollars that are leaving our states and paving roads and Tennessee and Ohio and West Virginia, or helping to make healthcare more affordable in the states around us, doing important work that we ought to keep those dollars here. This is also what our people want, overwhelmingly, right? I mean, we're standing in the way of something that I believe our people can do responsibly. We're talking a whole lot lately about personal empowerment and individual decisions. And this is people wanting to spend their entertainment dollar on betting on sports. And I mean, think about it. Every sport we watch right now, we see the commercials come on for it. They're advertising almost with the teams themselves. So yeah, we're going to have to change some things in college or pro athletics to make sure that that these dollars don't impact the competition itself. But you know, this thing's time has come. It came 10 years ago, yet we are still here. Again, I hear a whole lot about wanting from this legislature about wanting to let people make their own choices. Here's one opportunity for them to do so. All right. Again, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. We will be back next Thursday because we have paused our Monday COVID updates. We continue to hope that we see declining numbers. We continue to hope they stay paused. Thank y'all.